Hello guys and welcome back to Celebrity Big Brother, and today we are going to be tier ranking the celebrity housemates of 2025. Now there are 13 of them. I am super excited to dive into our analysis of this series, as well as discuss all of the talking points, my opinions on each of the housemates, and where they rank against each other. Now, just as a little bit of clarification, on the screen you can see that there are 5 categories. We've got Get in the Bin, we've got Didn't Add Much, we've got Enjoyed Watching, we've got Future Returnee, so those are for the people that I would love to see if they did an All-Stars version or something along those lines where they invite people to come back. And then the Iconic Spot, which is reserved for my favourite housemate of the series. So, if you guys are excited, make sure to let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Obviously, this is my opinion, so if you disagree, please disagree gracefully. Do not disagree with me in a nasty way. That is not going to work out well for you. So, if you guys are enjoying, like, comment and subscribe. Let's get into the tier ranking, shall we? So, we're going to start with Michael Fabricant. I've got to put him in Future Returnee. I do not believe that we saw enough of Michael in the house. He was the first person out. He was only in there 4 days. And in those 4 days, I feel like he really made an impact on people in the house. He was funny. He was entertaining. He kept the mood up. People who came in with prejudices against him because of his politician views, well, they were like, do you know what? You're actually a calm bloke. Might not agree with your politics, but you are actually a very, very lovely guy. And honestly, it is interesting. It challenges people's perceptions of different members of society, whether it's to do with colour or to do with sexuality or to do with political points of views. We're all human at the end of the day. And it's very interesting that this social experiment really brought that to the forefront. And I have to say, there were so many moments where Michael just made me smile because of his just oddness. But it was so much fun to watch. And I'm gutted that he was up against the winner and he who shall not be named, because I feel like he deserved to stay in the Big Brother house a whole lot more than Mickey. Let's be 100% honest. I mean, speaking of Mickey, he can get in the bin. Not only was he incredibly misogynistic and homophobic, there were just so many moments in the house where he just made people feel uncomfortable. He made Jojo feel uncomfortable after the comment about you won't be straight when you get out of here, which I've seen a lot of people make comments on TikTok being like, oh, Mickey was right. Bullshit, was he right? Bullshit. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation flying about Jojo at the moment. We'll talk about that when we get to Jojo. But Mickey by no means was correct to say that. That was a disgusting, disgusting comment that he made. And anybody backing him, well, you know what? It shows more about your character than it does anything else, let's be honest. He was unpleasant to watch in the house. Fascinating to watch, I have to say. From a social experiment point of view, as much as he was detestable, I was enjoying his presence in the house because I was just fascinated, like, the fuck are you doing, mate? What actually are you doing here? Clearly, he needs the money. And I'm very, very happy that they decided to dock his pay after they kicked him out. I feel like the whole situation between him and Chris, again, we'll talk about that more when we get to Chris, but I feel like that situation escalated very quickly and it didn't need to. But you can't deny that he made people uncomfortable in the house to the point where Patsy didn't want to talk about him. Ella didn't want to talk about him. There were numerous people that just didn't want to talk about the way that he made them feel. And that just shows me the kind of person that he is. Next up, we have Trisha. I put her in the enjoyed watching. She was somebody who caused some controversy at times and made sure to make her opinions known about everything. I don't know whether that's a great quality to live with, but it's definitely a very interesting quality to watch. I do feel like her comment towards Michael as he was delivering his speech was a little bit unnecessary. It just felt like she jumped ahead and had assumed where he was going with it. I'm always one of these people that's like, let them hang themselves. Let them say it and show their true colours rather than you jumping in and stopping them before they can say it. Because I would rather somebody get exposed than you stop them and then be like, oh, I wasn't going to say that, because then that's helping nobody. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like at times her input wasn't necessarily necessary, but then again, she was entertaining. She had great stories. She was up against the two soap legends, so it wasn't like she was going to be able to stay. So you know what? Fair game. Great that you came in with the house like in your condition. I genuinely was so happy to see her thriving in the house, especially considering she's got stage 4 cancer. But my God, what an iconic woman with an inspirational drive in life. Because my God, if I had stage 4 cancer, I don't think I'd be going to the Big Brother house. Definitely not. Up next, we have Daly. I gotta put Daly and didn't add much. I gotta be honest, I really felt like he just did not do much at all. Like, at all. I was disappointed, I have to say. I wanted more from him, but he gave me nothing. Like, I walked out of that series learning nothing about his life. Apart from that he kind of likes Three Little Birds. Which isn't a lot of information about somebody, do you know what I mean? Like, I really wish that we could have found out so much more about him. But you know what? It is what it is. You're not going to be able to win everything. He was boring, and I'm glad that he went home when he did. I'm glad that he didn't make it to the final week, because even though he started to stir up drama literally towards the end, the first, 9 days he was in there, nothing. Literally nothing. So, what am I meant to do? Keep you in, just hoping you make more drama? Nah, we ain't got the time for that, mate. Up next, we have Angelica Bell. I enjoyed watching Angelica Bell. I enjoyed watching Angelica Bell a lot more on Late and Live. I thought she was so much more entertaining and really came into, her own, I felt. I felt like the energy was there. Sometimes in the house, I think it was who she surrounded herself with. She could occasionally come off as a little bit catty and a little bit, not bitchy, but there was some bitching going on with her and Ella. And sometimes it felt a little bit mean-spirited. Like when she sat there with her coffee cup and she was like, these are not my people. And I was like, okay, this is a little bit dramatic. You're literally spending 19 days in a house with somebody. Do you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. It's not like these are the worst people in the world. You can just put up with it for a little bit. But she was entertaining. She was exciting. And she had her moments of pure genius. Like when she woke up and started banging the pots and pans. I would have thrown the pot at her head. But she was very entertaining. So, you know what? Gotta give it to her. Up next, we have Ella. Ella's in the future returnee for me. No, she's not. I think I'd put her above Angelica because she obviously came in with a very sort of, I'm going to get on with Chris. We're going to have a romance. We're going to get that ITVB special. And we're going to live happily ever after, make loads of money off our relationship, start a podcast. You know the drill. You know the kind of people that go on these shows just to get that kind of thing. And then when she realised, oh, that isn't the case. About 3-4 days in, yeah, then things started to get a little bit crazy. Oh my God, her feud with Chris and Jojo, hysterical. I actually like the fact that she did develop a little bit of a friendship with Jojo. They had some nice conversations. But just her cattiness and her bitchiness, I was kind of living for it. I feel like she really carried the second and most of the third week of Big Brother. Because obviously we had Mickey and his drama domineering the first week. And then just bubbling under, Ella came out of nowhere with her whole tirade against Chris and Jojo. And I was here for it. I might not like her that much, but my God, was she entertaining to watch. Oh my goodness. So up next was Patsy Palmer. Now I'd love to put her in the future returnee, but I'm going to put her at the top of enjoyed watching. I don't think she'd ever come back to the Big Brother house. I think she personally hated the experience. But, oh my goodness, there were so many moments that just had me absolutely howling. Like when she was like, no, my name's not actually Patsy Palmer, it's Julie. I was like, what? What do you mean? To be fair, I already knew that information. But just the way she said it so nonchalantly made me go, huh? What? Oh my God, I forgot about that. And then there was moments like when she was the cat. I've never seen this woman happier in my whole life as she was when she was dressed like a bloody cat. Wow, what an exciting individual. Purely because her depressive nature just brought so much hilarity to the house. Like when she was having that conversation with Jojo and she just left the room halfway through a sentence. I was creasing. It was so funny. And she definitely did bring a little bit of drama. People were like, you're bringing the vibe down. And I was like, yeah, bring the vibe down. I'm sick of all this happiness. Do you know what I mean? I need a little bit more edge. I need a little bit more drama. When Mickey criticised her broccoli, she didn't want to talk about the broccoli. She didn't want to talk about the broccoli. Okay? It was a brilliant, brilliant exit interview. But anyway, we love Patsy. She was iconic. I wanted her to stay, obviously, and for Chris to go home. But you know what? What are you going to do about it? And talking of Chris, I did not enjoy watching him that much. I got to be honest. I think for the first week, him and Jojo, I was like, oh, this is quite cool. And then it just started getting to the point where I was like, okay. If you guys aren't crossing each other's boundaries, that's fine. But for me, if this was me and my friend, it would be a boundary crossing. Like all the hugging and the like cheeky cuddling and the getting naked in front of her, pissing in front of her. I was just like, this is a little bit weird now. This is just getting a little bit weird. And I had to keep reminding myself, I was like, well, again, I want to talk more about this when we get to Jojo because it impacts her more than it does him. But I felt from his end, it was just sometimes a little bit odd. However, there are also accusations of game playing. Was this a plan? I'm not sure. I think potentially there were elements of it, but I do genuinely think he crafted a special friendship with her. I don't think that it necessarily started out that way, but I definitely think it ended up that way, which is the main thing. I just found that he did not give me much outside of Jojo. I actually found him more entertaining when he was with Jack, but that was very, very few and far between, and I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't see more from Chris with other people, because the majority of his time shown on the TV was with Jojo, and Jojo's a very, very interesting individual. I don't actually feel like I learned anything about Chris, or learnt much about Chris. I learnt a lot about everybody else in their lives, their interests, things like that. But with Chris, I don't feel like I learnt that much. And I didn't really know him before going into this. He was one of the people that I was like, I don't really care about him. Like, he's not one of the names that I'm excited to see. And he brought drama, he brought entertainment, but I think I just preferred a lot of other people over him, if I'm being honest. Up next, we have Chesney. Is it bad if I put him down and didn't add much? Because he didn't add much. In the nicest way possible. He did not do much in this house. I liked him. And I thought he was sweet. But I just don't feel like, outside of all the sex parties, I really got to know Chuzzley Hawks. I don't know. I just feel like, again, not a lot of screen time. Not a main character. And therefore just kind of faded into the background a lot. In fact, there were moments where I completely forgot he was even there. And then he'd appear and I'd be like, rah, I forgot about Chesney. His most iconic moment was having a go at Chris during the karaoke party. That was brilliant. But everything else, I was like, oh, like, he has his moments of funniness, but then there's just the majority of the time he's just kind of sat there listening to other people's conversations. Didn't really add much to the house, unfortunately. Then we have Donna. Oh. No, in fact, Donna's my iconic pick. I loved Donna. Donna was insane. Genuinely, I've never laughed as much as I have when I was watching Donna. Genuinely. There were so many good moments. All of her little songs. Her and Patsy singing like cats. That was brilliant. Deliveroo Donna. Amazing. And then there were just so many other moments. Her and Danny were a comedic duo. There were numerous times where she made me want to spit out my tea. Like, obviously, I drink tea when I watch it because I'm British, obviously. But there were so many moments where I'd take a sip and I would literally have to do this to stop myself from cackling and spraying it everywhere. And I've just painted my walls as well, so I couldn't have that. Honestly, she was hysterical. And she brought so much life, energy, joy to the house. There was her little spat with Angelica Bell, which was very funny. And I gotta say, sometimes you do just have to get things off your chest. Sometimes you do just have to have a little bit of a and then you're fine. Not a strain and shit, okay? I know what you're thinking. No, no, no. But very entertaining, very, very funny, and I liked it. Very, very good indeed. And then that brings us to Jojo. Now, Jojo's obviously going to be a future returnee. I would love to have her back on my screen. Jojo is somebody that I went in with a lot of preconceptions of, and those preconceptions eroded by the end of the first week. Not even by the end of the first week, by the end of the first couple of days. I was like, oh, this is a very, very different Jojo to the one that we've seen before. I think a lot of people's bias towards her and or against her comes from before the show. But obviously I didn't know her before the show. I didn't know her very well. Her reputation preceded her from what I'd seen. But that didn't match up with what I was seeing on screen. And it was very interesting because we actually got an insight into this 21-year-old's mind, what's going on, what's happening. And she made several different sort of discoveries in the house, talking about gender, talking about sexuality. There's been numerous people attributing her queerness to Chris rather than Danny, who is also queer, and helped her realise that she was queer. I don't think it has anything to do with Chris. I think there's also a lot of people out there who haven't seen the show, haven't seen the context, and therefore are attacking her for cheating and other things like that, when I don't think that's the case. If this was the roles reversed, okay, if this was roles reversed and it was a gay guy and a straight woman, would there be the same uproar? No. And it's because I don't think as a society we believe that lesbians, or in Jojo's case now, queer people, can just be for one sex or one gender, or not be interested in men. Women can not be interested in men. That is possible. And this kind of friendship can exist within those boundaries. Okay? I have seen gay guys and their straight female best friends do some questionable shit. But do I judge them? Do I accuse the guy of cheating on his boyfriend because he's doing this with the girl? No, because you know what the boundaries are in your own friendships. Other people can't judge those boundaries, do you know what I mean? Obviously, breaking up with her partner, not exactly the best timing. However, you gotta think strategically, okay? As a 21-year-old, would you rather string this person along for a couple more days, a couple more weeks? Who knows? If your head's not in it, the time to break up is then and there. And she broke up at the earliest opportunity that she possibly could, which was the right thing to do. Was it fair that it was at the after party? Probably not. But equally, where else was she meant to do it? Do you know what I mean? It was better for her to be like, nope, I'm not feeling this right here, right now, than allow her partner to continue believing everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's okay, and then get whammied. That's just how I feel about it personally. I don't think there's anything romantic between her and Chris. I don't think there ever will be. I think it's just a friendship. And until I am proven otherwise, I will remain on that stance, okay? Yeah. A lot of people have been watching it and saying their opinions, and they haven't even watched the show. And I sit there and I'm like, well then, you can't really comment, can you? Danny Beard. Oh, where do I put Danny boy? I think Danny's above Jojo for me. I did love Danny. I haven't really got much to say on Danny because I loved Danny before the show. I loved Danny after the show. I've been seeing him in Panto since I was like 10, 11. Whenever he was in the Seven Oaks Panto, I went to go see it a couple of years running. And he was in it a couple of years running. He was brilliant. Then I supported him on Drag Race. I was hashtag Team Danny Beard. And now Danny obviously came second in this, and I want him to come back again. I want him on all the shows. Get him on literally everything, please. Get him in the jungle. Get him everywhere. Honestly, give him his own show. My mum was like, oh, it's a little bit like a younger Paul O'Grady. I went, yes, that's exactly what he is. He is funny. He is great. He's very, very entertaining. And then last but not least, we have Jack. I'm going to put Jack at the top of enjoyed watching. I don't know whether I would want to see him again. I feel like he was very entertaining and he was one of the people that made me chuckle the most in the house, if I'm being 100% honest. Just because I understood his humour and I understood what they were doing with his edit. It was very, very funny. The whole tea situation, hysterical. It was genius. And they really ran with that. Really made me chuckle. There were so many moments where he had me absolutely howling. So I got to hand it to him. He's a deserving winner. At least somebody undeserving didn't win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everyone in that final was really, really lovely and was really, really good. And therefore, I couldn't really pick between them. As long as it wasn't Chesney, because I was like, Chesney's not going to win, obviously. But, like, out of the top 4, I was happy with any of them to win. Do you know what I mean? I thought any of them deserve it because they've all been the 4 most entertaining people of the series, if I'm being 100% honest. Obviously, I've put Michael above Jack, but that's just because I'd like to see him again. We didn't get enough time with him. And I feel like if he had been in the house a lot longer, he would have been in that top 4 potentially. I don't know. But either way, that is all we've got time for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And I will see you guys in the next episode of Big Brother, which will probably be airing around about the autumn. But don't worry, we have got Big Brother US coming our way in July, which I'm super, super excited for. So without much further ado, let us get in to the outro. I've just realised I'm doing my intro. Yeah, sometimes I just go on autopilot. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Keep on ranting. Bye now.